Moving on to the Las Vegas Raiders, who finished 8-8. They were 12th in offense, 30th in defense. Their defense was atrocious. In the offseason, they lost wide receiver Nelson Aguilar and edge defender Tack McKinley, but they did add a couple in cornerbacks in Casey Hayward and Russell Douglas, some wide receivers in John Brown and Willie Snead. They added Kenyon Drake from the Cardinals and added edge defender Yannick Ngakoue from the Ravens, who used to be in the Pro Bowl. They drafted an offensive tackle in the first round, which doesn't make sense at all. And in the second round, they drafted safety Trayvon Moehrig. Tyler, why are the Raiders going to be successful this season?
There are a lot of question marks with this Raiders team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But they did hire a defensive coordinator, Gus Bradley. So he was part of the Legion of Boom with Seattle. I think this guy really knows how to coach a secondary, and there are a lot of questions on that side of the ball. They did, I think, probably reach for some draft picks this season. So I think they're going to have to be successful, or there's going to be a lot of guys on the hot seat. Gruden is especially going to, there's going to be a lot of, question marks with how this team is managed going forward if this defense does not improve. Obviously, 30th ranked is pretty shit. And I don't know if they added a ton of pieces to really improve on that. So that's really where this team is. That's where the key is for this team. I think offensively, they're going to do enough to put up points every game. But defensively, that's where they're going to, really need to improve. I think they have some pieces to do better than they did last season. I don't think that they're a top 15 defense by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that they will be better and compete. And I think that they'll be, in every single game. And their offense, Derek Carr, his QBR with John Gruden has improved every single season. I think they got a lot of good depth on the offensive side of the ball. And then Darren Waller is one of the best offensive weapons in the league. Offensively, I think this team will be pretty good. The offensive line, kind of changed around a little bit. But I think that they'll still be good enough to be competitive and put up points. I think this will be a top 15 offense. So with that in mind, obviously a pretty good offense with a, we'll see what happens defense. It's going to be a lot of question marks. But I think also one thing that the Raiders have going against them, their strength of schedule they have one of the toughest schedules in the league. So they're going to be tested early and often. But I think that this Raiders team will improve. I think Gus Bradley's going to come in and shake things up on the defensive side of the ball. And I think they'll do a lot better than a lot of people think.
Eric, why are the Raiders going to suck?
Well, they're going to start 0-4, as Tyler just said, because game 1 is Ravens, game 2 Dolphins, game 3 Steelers. All three of those, 10-plus win teams last year. Then they got the Chargers, who we just heard are going to be good. So that's 4 losses right out the gate for them. It's going to mess with their momentum. As we talked earlier, momentum. And they traded away 3 of their starting O-linemen. These guys who were protecting Derek Carr, getting him, those ratings Tyler was talking about. Now those guys are gone. And then, Tyler kind of just covered it. 26th worst ranked roster in the league, apparently, according to one random source I found on Google. And then
you.
But then, defensively, the liabilities are gonna remain. Their safety last year, lowest ranked safety in the league. I feel like we've talked about safeties before and how important they could be. And then their corners were 6th lowest in the league. So bad defense. Derek Carr, this is his last chance, I feel like, with them. I don't really have a lot of trust in him. And those first 4 games are going to be pretty tough. We'll see if they can become battle tested or not.
Your hate for Derek Carr, just floors me, man.
His coach doesn't even like him at this point, to be honest with you. Derek Carr might be his last season. Eric, how did they finish?
I think they go 7-9. Does that make 17? No, wait, 7-10.
There we go. Tyler.
I'm gonna go 9-8. I think that they're gonna win some games that people think. So you said 4 in those first 4 games. I think they're gonna go 2-2 in those first 4. They're gonna get off to a pretty good start, and they're gonna finish 9-8.
That's ambitious. I'm going 6-11. The running back room is their best asset, other than Darren Waller. They have a lot of great wide receivers who haven't really shown out yet. They're young. They're improving. That O-line does not have continuity. Eric had mentioned they lost 3 of them. So they have 3 out of 5 pieces that are brand new. It's going to be tough to win if you miss your blocks. And other than that, they didn't really add anything on defense other than Yannick Ngakoue, who's kind of fallen off. Like, he's not as good as he used to be. So 6-11. Alex, what do you think?
I'm also going to go 6-11. I mean, just pretty much mirroring what you just said. No faith in the defense. I'm not a big John Gruden guy. I was not a fan when they gave him 10 years, which seems insane to me. The Raiders are the most disappointing franchise in like the NFL right now. They should be way better. They're not. 6-11, another disappointing year.
Taking that from the Jets, huh?
I mean, the Jets are trash. The Raiders should be good, and they're not. The Jets are bad. They're going to be bad. That was more of my philosophy.
That's
on
fair.
I think the Jets are going to be great, by the way. But we'll cover that later. Shane, what do you think?
I have 9-8.
Why 9-8?
Yes.
Why?
Derek Carr, man. I mean, contrary to what everything Eric says about him, and contrary to what John Gruden, who I think is a terrible hire, Derek Carr's good, man, and he can get stuff done.
Would you draft Derek Carr as your quarterback for your fantasy team?
He has to now.
He's currently going undrafted.
I have to now, yeah.
Okay.
It was like me talking about Daniel
I'm not gonna.
Jones all last
I'm
year.
not gonna unless
you got to
it
draft. If you first overall pick, you got to pick him.
first overall, first like
Derek
I get
Carr.
First overall, Derek Carr, yeah. Yeah.
You said he's better than
So do you want me to I'd rather on YouTube, I'd rather show everyone I'm going to burn my $100 bill because I'm pretty much doing that if that's the case.
Tyler, let's talk fantasy real fast. Would you draft Derek Carr? He's going undrafted.
Not really, unless he's you don't have a good. I think he's a good kind of late pick insurance quarterback to have, in case your quarterback gets hurt or for whatever reason sucks. But I will say this about Derek Carr: he is reliable. I don't think he has the biggest upside that a lot of other quarterbacks do, but he consistently puts up pretty solid numbers every week, and for the most part, he stays pretty healthy. So I will say that about Derek Carr. He is a reliable option, but I don't think he's not the best option by far. But I think he's a top 20 fantasy QB. So
he
I think
finishes number 13. So yeah, you're on point.
Yeah, so I think he's a reliable option. Like you said, if you get guy that I think is a good insurance quarterback.
For the running back room, they added Kenyon Drake, who was a starter with the Cardinals. Josh Jacobs was kind of the bell cow, but I don't know if that's going to be the case anymore. Josh Jacobs is being drafted at 36. Kenyon Drake is being drafted at 115. If you had a chance to kind of take a shot here, right? Huge discount if you take Kenyon Drake, but you have to draft Josh Jacobs in the 3rd round. Who would you pick?
I'm probably going to lean towards Jacobs. I just think that he's going to get more of the scoring opportunities over Drake. I think Drake will get more, yardage probably, but I think point or scoring is a little bit more important in fantasy, so I'm going to go Jacobs on that one.
Okay. Last question for you here. Darren Waller. He finished as tight end number 2, finishing a couple points shy of Travis Kelce. Would you draft him over Travis Kelce? Because Travis Kelce is being drafted in the 1st round. Darren Waller is being drafted late 2nd.
Man, that's a tough one. I think those guys, I think those are no-brainers. If they're available to draft, you draft them. I'm going to go yes, just because I think he might get targeted a little bit more. I think Kelsey's on a team that I think the options a little bit more spread out. I think Waller's going to pretty much be their number 1 target for Derek Carr. So I would go with him just because I think he'll get a more load than Kelsey will. Barely though. It's
more of a load.
That's
more of a load. Yeah.
More of a load.
Okay.
More of a load.
Pause.